What's up, Bulls Nation? The Chicago Bulls have made their first move in the 2025 free agency, and that is bringing back Tre Jones on a 3-year, $24 million contract. So overall, I'm pretty happy that Tre Jones is back. We're going to talk about the financials of this deal for the Bulls here, talk about how the Bulls brought Tre Jones back. I want to make this clear, and immediately go to like the salary stuff for the Bulls and see how much room they have before the luxury tax. Talk about Tre Jones and what he did with the Bulls in his limited time here so far, and then I want to kind of like look at it overall, like what the Bulls are gonna have to do after this deal. Is it trade Io? Is it trade Kobe? I do want to talk about that here at the end of the video, and we'll talk about some more stuff after that. So before we get into it all, make sure to hit that like button if you're new to the channel, hit that subscribe button. Let's talk about Tre Jones coming back for the Bulls here. So overall, I'm pretty happy that Tre Jones is back. I kind of consider him as like the biggest piece of the Levine deal. I know like getting your first round pick back, some people looked at it as pretty big, but for me, Tre Jones was like the most intriguing part of the deal. I've always liked Tre Jones. Just the thing is like he is pretty small. That is something just to keep in mind. But in his limited time with the Bulls before he did get injured, Tre Jones played a pretty key part in the Bulls, you know, having a good run to the end of the season. He put up great numbers. He was playing good defense, but the biggest thing is that he was pushing the ball in transition and getting to the basket a lot. We also saw him shoot really well from three-point range, which is not his game. So, you know, he shot 50% from three-point range. Don't expect that to continue. But Tre Jones had a really nice end of the season for the Bulls before he did get injured. And so I was hoping that the Bulls were going to look to bring him back because I don't really know what the Bulls are going to do with the Herter and Collins contracts. So if you basically trade Levine for your own pick back only, I would be pretty upset. But it seemed like since the Bulls traded Lonzo Ball, Tre Jones was like a big priority for the Bulls to bring him back, and so they get him on a 3-year, $24 million deal. So let's talk about the financials here for the Bulls. So these are just estimates right now for Tre Jones' contract. If it's a flat contract, it'd be $8 million per year. But the Bulls did have bird rights to re-sign Tre Jones, so they did not have to use their mid-level exception to bring back Tre Jones here. They had bird rights. Tre Jones had bird rights with San Antonio, but then he got traded to the Bulls. And when you get traded, then your bird rights come along with you. So the Bulls had bird rights to re-sign Tre Jones and go over the salary cap. They did not have to spend any of their mid-level exception to do this. So I'd be kind of shocked that they did. I mean, I guess they could do that, but I think it'd be a pretty dumb decision if they did. So this is kind of my estimate for the Bulls here. Again, using bird rights to re-sign Tre Jones. If it's an 8% increase every single season, then this would be the first year salary. So instead of it being $8 million, it would be 7.4 for the 25-26 season. If it is 8% increase, then this would still be $8 million, and then this would be $8.6 million for the following year. But again, we don't know this yet. So this is just rough estimates here for the Chicago Bulls and what is Tre Jones' contract. And again, we're just going off rough estimates. But according to my calculations here, after this Tre Jones contract, and again, we're just roughly estimating here, I'm just going to put in $8 million for now. This leaves the Bulls at $149 million in contracts. We also are looking at only 2 roster spots open, potentially, or actually, no, excuse me. No roster spots open. Besides, we'd have 1 roster spot open, if for right now, and that's just basically just going to go to Giddey most likely. Excuse me. So, Asenge is most likely just going to be taking Taylor Horton Tucker's roster spot, and then it'd be Giddey just taking the last one, if no one else moves here. So I just want to keep that in mind. But biggest thing right now is that after this Tre Jones contract, which I won't lie, I'm actually kind of happy it's $8 million, like annual average salary here. I kind of thought he actually might get a little bit more. But we'll see if this is actually good value, or if this is like the right value, or maybe it's a slight overpay by the Bulls, but we'll talk about that at the end here. But either way, I'm happy Tre Jones is back. So when it comes to Giddey's contract, this is going to be very important for the Bulls here. Okay. So again, rough estimate of $8 million with Tre Jones' contract. That leaves the Bulls with this number here of about $38 million below the luxury tax. And we all know the Bulls are never going to the luxury tax here. Right now, it seems like the Bulls have good leverage on Josh Giddey. So we'll see when this contract does get done. But let's just say, for example, if Josh Giddey only gets $25 million, or whoops, sorry, instead of the $30 million that a lot of Bulls fans seem to want him to get. Oops, sorry, I forgot to add a 0. As you can see here, if he gets $25 million or around here, then that leaves the Bulls actually with almost the entire mid-level exception to spend here. Now, I don't think the Bulls, if let's say Giddey does sign for this much and, you know, we're able to, it's going to be like about this much money left over, I don't think the Bulls would spend all their non-taxpayer mid-level exception here if they, you know, trade someone else out, but it does give them that option. So I do want to keep this in mind, that if, like, let's say the Bulls make another move here, or they like salary dump Vooch or something, or I don't even, like, maybe they were able to salary dump Javon Carter, then you could see here that it does give the Bulls enough room below the luxury tax here, and they would have money to really spend with the non-taxpayer mid-level exception. So it does give the Bulls this option. I don't really think they're going to be spending this, though, because the Bulls have a roster crunch right now, and if Giddey comes back, then all 15 roster spots are taken. But we could be seeing a move here soon by the Bulls, but I don't know if that means that they're just going to be sending out a player and no one's going to come back and that opens a roster spot, but we'll see. Either way, though, I do want to keep this in mind. This is just how much money the Bulls right now are able to spend before hitting the luxury tax. Again, rough estimate of Tre Jones' contract here, and then this is just an estimate of what Giddey could get. But the Bulls pretty much have enough room. Like, they have plenty of room right now, especially with this Tre Jones deal being about $8 million a year. They'll have enough room to spend before hitting the luxury tax. They'll be fine. So they'll even probably have some more wiggle room after giving Giddey his deal. So I'm gonna be interested to see what Giddey gets here. But I'm happy with this deal with Tre Jones overall with the amount of money it is. So again, he made $9 million last season. To be a little bit less this year, unless it's like front loaded, which I'd be kind of shocked if it is, but I guess there's a potential that it is front loaded. We do not know if this is a player option yet, or at least I don't know. I wouldn't be shocked if this last year is a player option for Tre Jones, but we will see if it is or is not. It's most likely a player option with just knowing how AK works here. Now, what does this mean for now the Bulls? So when Lonzo was traded, Casey Johnson kind of made it very, very clear here that the Bulls were going to really look to re-sign Tre Jones. As you can see here, it's like, hey, Tre Jones coming back is a real possibility. But after re-signing Tre Jones now, do the Bulls have to look to move another guard? Because, I mean, just look at the roster, right? I mean, Kobe White, I would assume, assuming you're re-signing Josh Giddey, Javon Carter picked up his player option, and if you include Dalen Terry as a guard or Kevin Huerter as a guard, I mean, you still have a bunch of guards on the roster. And hell, even Isaac Okoro is a guy that could play some shooting guard. So there is still a lot of guards on this roster here, and Tre Jones played both the 1 and the 2 last season for the Bulls, so he's going to be taking up minutes at both guard positions. So the Bulls are going to have to still make a decision here. But with that being said, it seems like Ayo Dosunmu's the name more on the market than Kobe White. At least in my opinion, I think that's a little bit more of a mistake, but I don't know what the trade talks are. But I think Kobe's going to demand more in free agency than Ayo would, and I think Ayo has a chance of just even signing an extension here. But, you know, we'll see what the Bulls end up deciding to do. I understand that some people think that Dosunmu and Tre Jones are pretty redundant, but I think that with Ayo, I mean, he's like a 6'4", 6'5", you know, defensive guard, and I mean, like, I know I'm not going to compare him to Andrew Nembhard, but, like, you know, something kind of similar to what Andrew Nembhard does. You know, a guy that can kind of play the 1 as well. So I personally would like to keep Ayo. Like, if Ayo Dosunmu is the starting shooting guard next season, which Ayo played really well when he was the starting shooting guard or when he was in the starting lineup for the Bulls last season, then I wouldn't be mad at it, and that means we trade Kobe. But either way, just kind of look for either, like, maybe one of these to get moved here, maybe even both. Seems like the Bulls might not want to pay either one of these guys, so just keep this in mind. We'll see what the Bulls do after this Tre Jones deal, because it probably means that one of these are going to be on the move, so just keep this in mind. Now, when it comes to the Tre Jones deal, it's going to be interesting to see, kind of as the rest of the deals come flooding in, like, was this a slight overpay? And even if it is, I'm not too upset about it if it is. Like, hey, look, I mean, I like this deal overall. As you can see, I don't hate on every AK move, but I am just kind of looking at some of the rest of the deals here. Like, for example, Ty Jerome got 3 years, $28 million, and he had a fantastic year off the bench for Cleveland. So, like, pretty similar to Tre Jones, right? He's gonna be the backup point guard in Memphis, assuming. But then, like, D'Angelo Russell signed a 2-year, $13 million deal with Dallas. Now, it is important to keep in mind that this is the taxpayer mid-level exception. So, like, this is, like, the most amount Dallas can offer D'Angelo Russell, because they're going to be in the tax here, or they just don't want to spend more than the taxpayer mid-level exception because of the hard cap. But Russell is most likely taking a pay cut here, but I'm not entirely sure. Like, we'll see how the rest of the numbers go here, but I think this is the taxpayer mid-level exception, if I'm assuming. And obviously, like, this is less per year than Tre Jones. It's, like, not that much less, but it is less per year. Keep this in mind. Now, the other one, which is this is the one that's a little bit more shocking to me, but Kevin Porter Jr. is going back to the Bucks on a 2-year, $11 million deal, and he was the backup point guard and might even be getting starter minutes this upcoming season for Milwaukee because Lillard's out. But he signed a 2-year, $11 million deal. Now, the Bucks have some financial numbers that are kind of scary. So, you know, maybe Kevin Porter also took a pay cut. But I mean, this would obviously be significantly less than what Tre Jones got. So, I'm not here to say that, oh, AK messed up again or anything like that. I'm just kind of saying just to kind of look around, and see what the rest of the other kind of backup point guards are getting. It might be a slight overpay, but either way, though, I'm happy that Tre Jones is back. I do think that bringing Tre Jones back is kind of important here. It is also important to keep in mind that Tre Jones, like, maybe the Bulls had to pay just a little bit extra just to make sure Tre Jones did come back. He was an unrestricted free agent, and you know, as like unrestricted free agents can just go anywhere and even take less money to go there. So maybe it took a little bit extra, and if that is the case, I can live with it. So overall, though, I'm happy that Tre Jones is back. I think that was pretty important, especially once Lonzo was traded, to bring him back here. And we'll probably see him getting minutes as backup point guard and even maybe some starting shooting guard minutes next season. But I'm happy he's back. He did a good job of pushing the ball in transition and playing off everybody and finishing at the rim. So looking forward to seeing Tre Jones back next season. Now, to close this video, I do want to point out a couple of things that we did learn, okay? We did learn that the salary cap for not this upcoming season, but the following season, for 2026-27, it's going to be a lot lower than projected. It's going to have a 7% increase versus what we thought was going to be a 10% increase, okay? So if you're looking at this number right here, this was the old projection. Like, this was a 10% increase projection here of $170 million, okay? We got word from Bobby Marks that it's not going to be that high. It's going to be a 7% increase. So instead of it being $170 million, it's going to be $165 million. That's humongous, if you're wondering, because now all of a sudden the Bulls that, you know, they're projecting to have a lot of cap spaces up in the 2026-27 offseason here. Well, all of a sudden, you know, your projected cap space, it went down by $5 million and you didn't sign a player. So, you know, this is the reason why I say every dollar counts. Like, this kind of reason why I wasn't a fan of bringing on a Koros contract here, because that's guaranteed money on the books, and we don't know what the salary cap's going to be. But right now, at least for today, and hell, it could go even lower. The Bulls just lost $5 million of salary cap space, and this is supposed to be the salary cap offseason for the Bulls. So this is important to keep in mind for that reason, but then also just to look at the other deals now being sent out or being agreed upon in free agency. Like, teams are going to probably prioritize, like, hey, we got to make sure that these deals, you know, don't go too bad, or like we have to make sure that or maybe like we lower a little bit off of some of the deals that we were looking to hand out, because hey, like $5 million, especially for the tax teams, like, that's humongous. Obviously for the Bulls, it's also going to be a pretty big factor because this is supposed to be a salary cap offseason. So this affects everybody, but overall it is going to affect the league as a whole and might shave off a few extra dollars here and there. So just to keep this in mind, because again, we're projecting here a or a pretty significantly smaller salary cap for the 2026-27 offseason here. So I just want to keep this in mind. But overall, though, I'm happy that Tre Jones is back. Leave in the comment section down below if you're happy with this deal, and happy to see Tre Jones back or not. But overall, though, hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure to hit that like button. If you're new to the channel, hit that subscribe button. I'll see y'all in the next one. Peace.